Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 10 of What If Naruto Was Told About the Uzumaki Clan from the beginning. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this all with your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Exiled from the Otsutsuki Clan over in Anime King 3 and enjoy that guys. And also, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the legendary Uchiha X Namikaze, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, would you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, as Naruto was back within Konoha, as he was at a bar, his uncle came up towards him. She thought her flirted methods were gonna get him aggravated, or rather flustered, but he was calm. As she heard that he was back, as she knew who he was of course. The Jinchuriki that went on the training trip with Jiraiya-sama. As Kakashi and Asuma came over as well, joining the conversation. Kakashi didn't talk much to Naruto that much because he was worried about something. Well, he couldn't ask Naruto right here. After all, Naruto knew. So he couldn't ask him right here, he had to wait. The next morning, Naruto made his way to his favorite spot, and that was Ichiwaka Ramen. As Ayam saw him, yes surely, grown into an handsome young man. As Naruto was rather delightful to her, as always. After that, he made his way towards the training ground, where he met up with Sakura, who wanted to know what he thought. She had sent a letter to him apologizing for how horrible she had been when they were younger, but he never responded, as Naruto didn't have any problem against her. After all, it would be rather pity to watch her suffer in anguish because he was, well, being bad to her. But she was still believing that he was content of bringing back Sasuke. She has grown, but not that much it seems, as Naruto met up with the others, Ino and the others. As Shikamaru saw the way that Naruto was talking, as he was controlling the flow of the information that he let out, or what they talk about, as Ino spoke about Sasuke and Naruto acted like he didn't even know who that was. Something that got Sakura a bit suspicious. As Tsunade gathered them all in the office as she was gonna test them. A war might be on the horizon, so all of them had to show their skills, not just them. And if they were not, well, what she thought they should be, they would be demoted. As Tsunade was gonna put Naruto up against all of them after he asked, as she brought them all out to the training field, as Lee and Neji and Tenten was the first one to take Naruto on, as Sakura would be there as a medical support, as Naruto brutally dropped them like they were nothing. He did not hesitate and he did not hold back, as Sakura even thought that he was going a bit over edge. As Naruto mocked, the way he spoke, it just sounded like he was mocking everyone. Tsunade got a bit pissed as she told them to all go on him, and she told Sakura to not heal Naruto, but Naruto simply smiled. By the end of the day, Kakashi went to meet Naruto, who was completely fine even though he took on all of them, as Kakashi asked Naruto if he hated him. As Naruto told him no, as him and the man spoke to each other, as Kakashi was interested to see what Naruto would do when the time came when the Uzumaki showed themselves. Yoshino made his way towards the hidden ring where he spoke to Nagato. Yoshino was the leader of the Uzumaki clan, although he was not the emperor because the emperor stood above him and the emperor was a true leader, but he went to speak to Nagato about the change and the things that were going to happen soon enough, as Nagato agreed with him. Nagato was also able to walk, some help from the Uzumaki clan it seems, as a man no longer had to be restrained to that mechanical walker. So yeah guys, so basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, so let's begin this new episode. Since we would not let them in Ozu, they might try something on the Wave Country. And if that happened and we kill their people, they're going to make noise, said Yoshino. Nagato was silent as he looked towards the man. Just because they are strong, they think They can do whatever they want. These nations enjoy peace. But it has brought us nothing but violence and pain. Yet, at the end, they think we must just forget about it and continue on, like nothing happened. If Konoha and the stone fight once more, we get dragged into wars that would only destroy our lands. These leading powers continue to demonstrate that with power they can do whatever they want. War is never pleasant. It brings nothing but pain, suffering, and violence. But they will start war for the smallest reasons. That is the hidden stone attitude in all of this. Hatred will continue to cripple this world of shinobi if things continue the way they are. These nations must understand war in the same way that we experience it. Perhaps if they do feel that state of war, they will be afraid to start it. I wonder about that, Nagato. People die in wars. They learn to hate, fear, experience pain, but when something happens tomorrow they are still willing to go to war even though they know it will cause them nothing but pain. Every side lose something in a war, yet they continue the same cycle over and over again. I wonder, will it ever change? We must hope that it will change, Nagato said. Jiraiya Sensei wished for a world where people can understand one another. I thought people could understand each other through pain. I wasn't completely wrong, but if people experiencing pain, they're likely to still hate each other. I think today Sensei want a world without that. When we were younger, it looked that way. To fight a world that might grow up and see that it doesn't need any more pain. To protect the weak people, protect the young. But we were weak back then. Those with power, they crushed us. We have gained power. But if we don't have the conviction, then we will still lose. Yoshino was silent for a long moment before he finally nodded. Hope is all we have, huh? It is not the only thing we have, Konan said. But it is fundamental for humans to hope. If you cannot hope for something, you cannot give it your all. We hope because we have the desire. If you do not see a world where there is peace, what is the point of fighting? That is just crushing things along the way, Yoshino said, as he shook his head. As long as nothing leaks out, the Hidden Rain will be safe. I don't think a confrontation between Stone and Konoha will happen. Not in the immediate future, he said. The great nations probably are to realize that Usopp depend on the wave. And it won't be long before they send pirates to attack our ship, just to test our strength. But we won't reveal much nevertheless. We have the Akatsuki for such purpose, said Konan. If something is gonna happen, the wave can always hire the Akatsuki. You don't have to get Konoha involved. That will just complicate things even more. That is something we want to avoid, Yoshino said. And as for Itachi, he ended up choosing something he wanted a long time ago. We did not interfere because it was better this way. He would have been a problem if he had stayed alive. You continue to use him, because you know he was gonna die, Nagato said. Natural, said Yoshino, but we still managed to keep him restrained. But he did make contact with the Majesty. The only thing gained though was a way to fast track his death. Since we were watching him, we make it our mission to take his body after he passed. He could be useful in the near future, so we have stored his body away. Sasuke would likely go blind because he would not get his brother Ice to unlock the Eternal Monkey Sharingan, but Yoshino wasn't concerned about that. The Uchiha was at the bottom of his concern list at the moment, so is it still going to be silence for the next 2 years at least? Yoshino nodded, yes. We have already acquired the technology from the Land of Spring. The next phase is building and His Majesty will oversee it all. I'm sure you will also have your hand full. During this time there won't be any communication, and unless the unexpected happens, we won't require a military force. We will not require the use of the Akatsuki, but after that those monkeys, we will make a return. Time skip. A couple days later, it felt nostalgic to be back in his village after he departed, as Sasuke looked at the gates of the Hidden Leaf. What a waste of time it was to go with Orochimaru. The Sannin hadn't given him much. He had done most things by himself anyway. Perhaps leaving shouldn't be an option for him. But if he hadn't left the village, Itachi would have never invited him to their battle. Maybe Naruto had more to do with his brother's actions than him leaving. Either way, he was back in Hidden Leaf. But you wonder, after everything, would they allow him to walk through the streets? He snorted. If they didn't want him, he could leave anytime that he chose. With the power that Itachi allowed him to gain, there is nothing that can stop him. Not even Naruto can stand in his way now. He was still going to get revenge nevertheless. Itachi might have not wanted it, but it did not matter. It wasn't about what his brother desired. It was about what he wanted. Reviving his clan and revenge had always been his core dream. But there was a couple of side jobs that he no need to do. Sasuke stopped at the gate as a squad of Anbu surrounded him. Sasuke Uchiha, the leader, said, "You need to come with us. I have already came here without you. I can make my way towards my destination without you. He said in a dangerous tone. Just because he was here, that didn't mean they could boss him around. Never. And where is your destination? They were on guard, ready to act at any moment notice. Hokage's tower. I wish to speak to the 5th Hokage about my return. You abandoned the leaf. Put several life of heirs to clan at risk. Choose to follow a known traitor of the village. Do you really think you can just walk back in here and speak to the Hokage as you wish? They direct their killing intent towards him, but Sasuke didn't find it amusing, not one bit. The last time he feared a killing intent, when Orochimaru had stood before him in Chunin exams. He had been a fool though. He should have seen something right in front of him. Orochimaru fled. The moment he realized invasion was not working, he ran, with his tails between his legs. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't have walked right through the gate, said Sasuke. If you're going to lead me towards Hokage's tower. They stare at him, before one of them asks, if you're here to kill the 5th Hokage. If you're not going to lead me, I know the way around. I only ask because I don't want to cause unnecessary problems, Sasuke said. We will take the rooftops. We don't want your appearance causing a scene. Time skip. At Usopp. Gorin couldn't keep the frown off her lips as she walked through the streets, heading towards the leader's tower. She was just returning back from the wave after receiving intelligence that Kumo wanted to move against the wave leader. She knew that people already tried to ask the man regarding Usopp, but they were not getting anything from the man. Kumo, being the bullies that they were, tried to kidnap the man and bring him back to their village where they could get information out of him. Damn brutes. They were never going to leave them alone. Gorin knew this when she signed into this job, but there was no breathing room. The damn scums were persistent, and it was starting to frustrate her. At least after their last failed attempt, the Hidden Stone had stopped for a while. But they couldn't do what they do to Kumo. No doubt the Raikage would throw a hissy fist and want to come here himself to rain down hell on them for what they did to his people, just because they were a smaller nation. The larger nation think they could bully them into submission. Ridiculous. But Gorin was starting to see things clearly. She has been working here for the past couple of years, and this place was her home. It was Orochimaru's home, and she was gonna fight to protect it with everything that she got. As she arrived, she saw Yoshino sitting with Haku. I guess I'm not the only one that is concerned that Kumo. Consider us a cause for concern. As Gorin saw the stern look on their faces, she sat down with a tired sigh. It's a matter of concern, said Yoshino, as the man had a frown on his lips. I was hoping they wouldn't see us as a threat, said Haku. The Raikage only listed the power and strength, so if the man thought that they were weak, he would not waste his time on them. If things were going to break out soon, they would be fighting and there will be death. It wasn't something you want to do, but you would be forced to do it if these people end up attacking them. Because in these times, you couldn't spare your enemy, because if you did, you were just making a wish to be stabbed right in the back. They probably don't see us as a threat same way, said Gorin. They did not send anyone powerful there. And we still maintain all the Hidden Wave military power in this island, training them as they stand. They cannot protect themselves this way. The elemental nations can think this way. Wave Shinobis won't be Wave Shinobis, but Usopp Shinobis. But it does not change that Kumo has made a move. Do you think they move because the other nations are moving as well? Asked Haku. Possibly, said Yoshino. He looked towards Gorin. What did you do to them? Nothing, Gorin said, a shake of her head. I figure it would be risky to kill them all, so I just capture them, but I avoid using my abilities. We don't want Kumo seeing the bloodlines, or else they will go berserk. Yoshino laughed at her words, berserk. It was probably an exaggeration, but it was quite fitting. You did well. We'll just send them back to Kumo, as they are, but we won't say anything to them. If they try something like that again, we do the same process over and over again, until they grow frustrating. But hopefully, if we don't kill them, the Raikage will think of us as naive, and stop with its barbaric actions. What if they grew frustrated and sent the army? Asked Haku. I've spoken to Nagato about this. The wave will hide the Akatsuki if it happened like this, said Yoshino. Kumo will probably think that we don't have the strength to protect the country ourselves, and they will probably stop and wait to see where we're going. It is something that the Hidden Stone is currently doing. Given the fact that Konoha just sent their people, they have been quiet and just watching and waiting. Hopefully, nothing happens until we're finished building, Haku said. It's unlikely that it would try something against us, just like that. You of all people know if someone attacks us here, we have the advantage of destroying their ships before they even reach us. It is the same with the Wave Country. The only way they can get through is by the Great Naruto Bridge, and we can always send you out to freeze the bridge. In terms of attack coming through the sea, Usopp was covered, completely yes. But it would be a problem if they sent hundreds of ships. They didn't have the manpower to deal with such an attack, as Yoshino had spoken to the Emperor about this, and they would have to find a way to deal with the problem. What is Kira's position in all of this? Don't want to get involved, Haku said. The village is still trying to be rebuilt, and they don't want to get into anything. They don't have to because they're not anywhere close to the mainland. As Yoshino nodded. For now, Gorin, send those people back to Kumo. We don't say anything, and pretend like nothing happened, if you like. You can even offer words of apology to the Raikaki. I'm sure he would read it with that snort. An apology for what? Said Gorin. When a powerful man attacks you for no reason, you don't turn around and demand an apology from him. He will slaughter you. What you do is turn and apologize before the mighty man and humble yourself for being in his way. What if he decides to take advantage and kick you again? Yoshino smiled. The first attack will be cautious, but when you roll over and show him your back, he loses its sense of cautiousness and attack you recklessly. Gorin stared at the man as she shook her head. Tell me, does the Emperor also think like this? Sometime when it's convenient. We all learn from him. I wouldn't be saying this unless I knew that he would like it. Back at Konoha, for a moment Tsunade thought the envoys were making a joke, and that she was dreaming when she heard that Sasuke was at the village gates. The Uchiha had run away from Orochimaru, and they were looking for him for a long time now. Even when he departed Orochimaru's clutches, he still did not return to the village, and yet he just returned just like that. He returned, just showed up. Was it because Naruto had showed up as well? But that made no sense to her as she waited until the Uchiha appeared right in front of her in the office, with a blank look on his face. He had indeed returned. Tsunade did not dismiss the envoy. She wasn't sure if this was a surprise attack on her. He was still a brat, but underestimating him would bring her downfall. But Tsunade could still not put a reason why he had decided to return on his own. Had he achieved his revenge on his brother? If so, that was remarkable, considering the fact that he failed to defeat Naruto, and Itachi was not someone that was weak. Uchiha Sasuke, said Tsunade in a stern tone, you have some nerve, just showing up like this. Sasuke responded with a lot of indifference in his tone. I came here because I want to inform you. I have returned to the Hidden Leaf. I have done what I wanted to do. This is my home, so I have come back home, he said. This was the place that his brothers sacrificed their clan to protect. Sasuke could not just spit on that sacrifice. That aside, he had greater ambitions than that. He would replace this woman. Tsunade looked at him to make sure he was not joking. He had to be joking, right? As she burst out laughing. You have returned, she said. Who sent you away? You committed a crime against the village by running away and joining Orochimaru. We put so much shinobi life at risk trying to retrieve you, and you think you can just return? Sasuke was about to tell her that he never asked for anyone to chase after him. If he wanted to leave, he could do so, without anyone saying a damn thing about it. Besides, after what this village did to his clan, they had no right to say anything to him. Orochimaru was indeed a criminal, but this is still my home. Do you think people just accept you after you abandon this home of yours? You did something and there are consequences for them. I know what is happening around the Elemental Nation. I know there could be war. This village isn't above doing cover-ups. You can always say that I've been sent on an extra mission to kill both Orochimaru and Itachi. I have done so if anyone asks, you can always give them those reasons. No one can reject them. It was something that Itachi had suggested to him. And he struck a nerve with Tsunade when he told her the village loved doing cover-ups. She did not know about the Uchiha Master, but she knew about many things the Hidden Leaf has done to secure its place. She looked at the Uchiha. He did not lose his arrogance. The clan heads would not be silent about him just returning like that. This was all the problem. The cover-up wasn't a bad plan, and it worked better, given the fact that he returned on his own. They had still planned on using him even after he was forced to return to the village. So you think just because there might be war, we will be willing to accept you like that? Maybe not. Well, my power is needed, said Sasuke. I have also given you a way to cover it up. If you feel like you need to do something about my actions, you can do it. I don't have a problem with that. I will consider it. Why did you suddenly return, she asked. There were certain developments that happened. That aside, the only reason I left was because I wanted power to kill Itachi. I ended up killing Orochimaru who invaded the village, and then Itachi, Sasuke said. I have done all of that. Now, I must revive my clan. Where is the proof that you killed Orochimaru and Itachi? I can show it to you, said Sasuke. Genjutsu? Tsunade raised an eyebrow. She shook her head. When you go to collect a bounty, you had to show the head that you indeed killed a person. Sasuke frowned. Orochimaru. It's sealed away. When he tried to take over my body, I ended up absorbing him instead. During my fight with Itachi, I was losing and weakened. He managed to get out, but he was sealed away. After I killed Itachi, I was so worn out. When I passed out, I woke up back. His body was missing. Then how certain are you that he did die? I am certain, Sasuke said. It hadn't happened as he said, but it was true. Itachi's body did vanish. He would just not tell her that he had a conversation, a long one with Itachi, that would raise so much suspicions. Tsunade looked at him. You won't cause a fuss if they take you away to be questioned, correct? After that, you'll be remain confined in the Uchiha compound until I know how to deal with this issue. As she didn't wait for him to respond, she ordered the envoys to take him away. Tsunade's side, Jiraiya was out. He said he would return soon after talking to his former students. So yes, he'll be back soon. She needed to hear his thoughts about this development, even though she had a problem with his attitude. She could not deny the fact that they need the Uchiha in their ranks. But she still needed to do something about what he did. The guard saw him at the gates. It was likely that the news was going to spread about his return, and she would be having a large headache. How was Naruto even going to react to this development? Tsunade could not tell. The dynamics of Team 7 would not work. Naruto was not a naive child, and he would not forgive easily. It seems that way. Team 7 was dead, and it was not going to spawn back just because Sasuke returned. Sakura would certainly cry over this, but she too had grown, and she needed to understand that life was not always pretty. Is something wrong, Tsunade-sama? Shizune asked, as she stood in front of the Hokage. Tsunade blinked. She hadn't even heard her walk in the office. Perhaps it was because she was used to her presence. Sasuke just returned. Shizune stared at her. Just like that? Yes. Just like that, said Tsunade. I'm certain something happened, but I just can't put my finger on it. Either way, it doesn't really matter much. He's back and we have to find a way to deal with this scenario. Meanwhile, at Training Ground 44, as Naruto had spent many time in this place, in the past, a lot of time, as Naruto sensed a presence in the trees. Naoki, he said. A redhead was behind him sitting on a tree branch. Have you brought what I requested? Yes, as she threw a scroll towards him. He reached out and caught it with his right hand. When can we expect to mourn your death? Asked Naoki. Soon, said Naruto. I will contact you with instructions. I have already tested seals on my body, so we should not expect anything to go wrong. It's unlikely since I've studied your skills and realized none of them can do anything. However, in case a miracle happens, you must be ready to do what is to be done, said Naruto. We will be ready, said Naoki. Should I keep with observations or should I go back? Do as you like, but when I summon you, you cannot fail to appear before me. As you wish, she said. One more thing. Organize for some enemy shinobi to attack me. It should be a good cover-up. It will be done, she said as she bowed. She then vanished. As Naruto sat down and opened the scroll. The next day, seeing Sasuke just march into his place, Danzo was concerned. He wanted to say that it didn't bother him, but he was concerned. This hideout was a big secret. How did someone like Sasuke knew about it? Yes, it was more than troublesome. He could understand with Jiraiya, but Sasuke had been a naive, emotional child when he left the village, so how did he know? Perhaps Orochimaru said things that should have been kept secret. Yes, that must be the case. Danzo cursed himself for not keeping contact with Asani. Then again, the snake hadn't been completely pleased with him. Either way, he had this brat to deal with. It was good though that Sasuke returned. He was needed. The Sharingan was needed to protect the Hidden Leaf. There was war coming in for Konoha to conquer all nations. It needed all its tools. He could use the Uchiha for a balance when it came to the Kyuubi. If Sasuke has learned how to control the Sharingan just like Itachi, then there was no doubt that he could even manipulate Naruto. The blonde was a risk to the village, but a little bit of push and he would become a loyal weapon. I wasn't sure it was true when I heard that you returned, Sasuke. Have you come to join my side? Asked Danzo, as Sasuke's eyes were showing nothing but pure, unbridled hatred. Every fiber of his being was screaming from the crushed man or burn him with Amaterasu. But Sasuke wouldn't do anything hasty, he would wait. So this man would slowly experience pain and loss. Don't be ridiculous, Sasuke said. The only time I'm going to join you is when I'm going to die. But you're going to go a bit too soon. But I have things I need left to do in this world. Is that a threat? Danzo asked. Yes, Sasuke said. I'm gonna kill you. And I will do it very slowly. Today, I just came to inform you I will kill you. And there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. Before I do anything, you must be removed from the face of this world. Danzo sensed hate and contempt in the boy's tone. Could Itachi have told him what happened? No, he wouldn't do that. Would he? And why must I be killed? Asked Danzo. I know you pushed my clan away from the village. I know that you ordered my brother to kill everyone. I know everything and you're gonna pay for it. As his Mangekyo Sharingan spring to life. I cannot forgive you for what you did. If the leaf was responsible, I would turn against it. But it is you that need to suffer. And those two old people that supported you. You all would die by my hands. I really didn't believe that Itachi would tell. But if you knew, you must understand it's not something that will become public. I know that very well, Sasuke said. But it doesn't matter. And it doesn't mean that you would live to find out. If you know, then you know why Itachi did what he did. Are you gonna go against the wishes of your brother? I told him to kill you, but he would not listen. He even threatened me. If something happened against you, he would come after me. I relented, but I saw. Right now that I should have done it myself. Amaterasu. The man that was standing on Danzo's right burst into flames. Danzo wasn't even concerned about the screaming shinobi. The flames of the Amaterasu. There was nothing that could be done. So this child was serious about threatening him. He could not tell Tsunade he had to keep his mouth shut, because she would find out about the Uchiha massacre. If she did find out, she was probably going to be the one leading the charge towards his death. You are walking a very dangerous path, boy, said Danzo. Sasuke struck as he turned his back on Danzo. We will meet soon again as he walked off. Danzo-sama. As Danzo looked up towards the man that was calling him, he then looked and Sasuke was gone. Now he had the Uchiha to worry about. They could both be very useful, but instead there turned out to be problems that he had to solve. Sasuke could die and he could take the Mangekyou. He could always remove the Kyuubi from Naruto and seal it within someone else. Before training them, he could put in a strategy that would make Kumo and Stone fight to keep them busy. Tsunade could still give him Sasuke and to work on something with the Uchiha. It would be much simpler to handle the Uchiha if Tsunade ended up handing him right over. He would need to go to the Hokage and solve it before anything happens. He could not allow the Uchiha to keep coming at him. Time skip. Days later, Hokage's office. Jiraiya stepped inside looking tired. It wasn't a journey, it was a mental part of it. They had let him in the rain as he tried to enter through the gates. Actually, when he arrived, Nagato was standing there, and Nagato told him to go back without saying anything. Nagato was even willing to fight him to make him go back. Jiraiya hadn't been looking for a fight, but when he tried to force things, Nagato had brought the force, and he was forced to leave. It just made his visit all more troubling. The situation with Nagato was very troubling at the moment. What the man did in the rain was just cold-blooded and brutal. How could anyone looking for peace did something like that? Nagato killed anyone that was associated with Hanzo. Even if they were innocent, he slaughtered them all. He made the point to show him strength by slaughtering them down to the last man and child. It was looking that he was going to cause nothing but destruction in the elemental nations with the power that he possessed. If that was so, Jiraiya would have to stop him with everything that he has. He still had Naruto at his side, but there were still some concerns regarding the blonde. Even till this day, Jiraiya just could not figure out Naruto. But he wanted to trust him, to believe that it was good in Naruto, and he would not be like Nagato. They were both Uzumaki and that was troubling, given his current situation. You look tired, said Tsunade, as she saw the look on Jiraiya's face. As the man wiped his face. My travel to the Hidden Ring wasn't very fruitful, he said. It has left me more worried than ever before. I was thinking perhaps things would be alright, but the situation is more deadly than before. You didn't get anything. Jiraiya shook his head. They didn't let me get anything. They were willing to fight me to death over it. I think something is brewing over at the Hidden Rain. It can't be a coincidence that they locked up their village. Just like Uzo as well. Nagato is a Uzumaki, and a very, very powerful shinobi. I really think there's a connection between him and Uzo. If there's a connection there. If there is, we should really start to question their intentions. Tsunade frowned. She was already told what the man did after he killed Hanzo. They were probably denying connection like we asked, or they probably just won't answer us. They respond to form a connection with us. They say that they're not ready yet. Something is happening. Something big. As Jiraiya nodded, I believe so. And we have to do something, Haim. We can't just wait for them to come back to us. We have to do something. I don't want to be the suspicious type, but what the Toads have told me, we have to be proactive. It would be best to look like we're suspicious, then allow a disaster to come right to our doorstep. Do you think Uzo has the might to do anything dangerous? Tsunade asked with concern. I don't really know, Haim. I don't know, he said, in a firm tone. However, we have to consider that they could be after revenge for what has been done to them. We cannot ignore that they were invaded without actually doing anything. As Tsunade knew that was right, and possibly turned towards us as well, for not coming to their aid. What could we do after their destruction, Jiraiya? Said Tsunade. I don't know, said Jiraiya, but you know what Naruto said to me? After the destruction of their clan, why didn't any of the Uzumakis come to seek refuge here after everything? This puzzles me, Haim. Konoha wear the Uza symbol. Kushina was brought here to be the Jinchuriki. The relationship was a deep one, and yet, they did not turn to us for aid after their demise because, as I saw for myself, A couple of them survived, fully healthy through it, and yet, they did not come to us at all. Well, seems like things are not going to settle anytime soon, said Snavy. But what? What can we do about this? We need answers, Jiraiya said, and we need to get them from Usopp. I would be willing to force myself in the way to get answers. Think about how the village dealt with the Hidden Stone spies. They must knew that killing them and sending them back would just make the village more angry, but yet, they did it anyway. Snavy frowned. She had tried a diplomatic approach, yet, it was failing big time. Do you think Usopp would take on like you going in there, she said. It is actually a reaction when I step foot there to see how they would react to us, because despite me being a son, I'm also a Konoha ninja. So to see how they react to me would show. What is your opinion of us? Snavy nodded. I would just have to think about something then, in case there's a fallout. Before she could say anything else, Danzo entered the office. Snavy frowned. What do you want, Danzo? Danzo eyed Jiraiya for a moment as he frowned slightly. He had this person to deal with as well. The Uchiha had just slaughtered one of his agents right in front of him, without caring and walking away. He would not forgive it. Shisui's eyes could work on the Uchiha, but Danzo didn't want to waste the ability. Sasuke has returned to the village and you have not yet given to me. I don't think this is gonna work, Danzo, she said. We had an agreement. We did. If I remember correctly, I said, I will think about things once he returns. And I'm still thinking, and you're not helping yourself. That aside, things have changed. Once more. So I'm still thinking, so please leave. As you can see, I'm having an important meeting. Danzo looked towards her with a gaze. Was she really dismissing him like that? He was here because he was concerned Sasuke posed a great risk against him right now, and he could not tell this woman. The Uchiha massacre was a village secret, and even if Tsunade was Hokage, she wouldn't know. But after all of his moments, after everything he had done, this woman still treated him like this. Right there, he was thinking of using Shisui's eye to manipulate her. What is so important, Danzo asked in a sharp tone. We have already spoken about this. And it's concerning that we discuss his loyalty, given how he returned to the village. There are a couple of things regarding village security and future, but nothing you should concern yourself with. You probably won't live long enough to see it, anyway, she said, with indifference in her tone. Danzo ignored the last comment. He was not going to ask what she meant by that. If there is something that concerns village security, then I should be made aware. She stared towards the man. Who are you, she said. Jiraiya almost laughed at that. He was concerned how his teammate was dealing with the cripple. But it seems like she had everything under control. For now. He would only watch. You seem to forget who you're speaking to, Snavy. I've been serving Konoha for many years now. And my grandfather founded this village along with Uchiha, she said. I don't really understand what your point is, and I don't really want to understand. Either way, I've already told you to leave. The next time I won't ask. I will just make my envoys escort you out. So with that, Danzo just left as he didn't say a single word to her. Jiraiya then turned towards her. I didn't know Sasuke was back. In what way did he even come back? Saying that he feel a bit worried since he ran away from the village. A couple of days ago, he just returned, out of the blue just like that. He says he killed both Itachi and Orochimaru. When I asked for Itachi's head, he said it was stolen. And I believe him. He was rather insisted about it. He hasn't been doing anything since he returned. I am still working on his cover. I have already drawn up things. I just need to speak to the clan head once I got everything under control. I'm sure they won't be pleased since their children's life had been put at risk for chasing after Sasuke, said Jiraiya. Either way, said Snavy. It's not their call to make decision, and I was the one that sent them out on that mission. I hope it go well, said Jiraiya. I'll be in the village for the next days. But when I leave, I'm heading straight towards Oza. We cannot rest without knowing anything about their intentions. Time skip. Hidden Sand. With a war on the horizon, the Hidden Sand has been training their shinobis. They were getting ready for everything. Temari was helping Jennings train along with Jonins. It had been rather sad when no one picked her brother to be their sensei, but he had managed to secure himself some students, which he personally trained. They had been afraid of him at first, and because of his stoic mask, were not really giving off a smile or anything. That was a part of his fault, but they got used to it as they listened to him actually. Hearing him talk, they realized that he was a nice person, despite what everyone around them said. She was busy with her students when a shinobi came to call her, saying that she was requested by the Kazekage. She told her students not to take it too rough, as she made her way towards Gaara, as people were busy coming in and out, as everything was hectic and moving around. As Gaara saw his sister enter as he looked towards her, he received a message from Tsunade Naruto had returned to the Leaf. He always knew that Naruto would return, but Tsunade just confirmed it. Temari did not know about it, but She has grown quite close to him while his time in this village was. And Gaara wasn't against the idea of his sister growing closer to Naruto. If there was going to be a relationship, he would approve of it. Then again, he had to find someone to marry his sister before the Wind Capital vultures made their move. But he would not force his sister to marry anyone that she did not want to marry. Tsunade seemed to believe if the two were given a chance, something could happen, because they have already connected. After spending time with him, he noticed that his sister came back happier each day, and Gaara wouldn't complain about it one bit. I need to send you to Konoha. You can leave tomorrow morning, he said. What is it, she asked. There's a scroll that must be delivered to Konoha. The Hokage will also give you something before you return. As Gaara praised himself internally for playing this so well. Is it about the war that might not happen, Temar said. She wasn't pleased about the idea of a war, but if it happened, they will fight. Gaara nodded, but it was a lie. The scroll was empty, but he knew that Temar would never open it. We are trading intelligence. If there's going to be war, we're going to have to play our part. Here, it doesn't look like it's going to take part in anything anyway. Temar nodded. Hopefully, nothing happened, she said. But when dealing with power-hungry people, you could never know. Yes, and we still don't know much about Uzu, said Gaara. As Gaara gave her the scroll, I'll be back as soon as possible, she said. As she left the office, Gaara smiled when she did. He played that very well. Now he would just have to wait and hear what happened back at the Hidden Leaf. Tsunade already said that Naruto would not be going anywhere, so she would not miss him. Time skip. As she made her way towards the Hidden Leaf, she was used to the journey by now as she was the one that come over here whenever there was something that needed to be discussed. As she made her way straight towards the office, as she entered, you arrived quicker than expected. I was a bit fast to get here. I want to get back home as soon as possible, Temar said. As she handed the scroll towards Tsunade, she did not sit down as she waited. Gaara did not tell her anything, Tsunade realized, as she was sent here to see if nothing would click between her and Naruto once she saw him again in the village. Tsunade smiled, perhaps it was better this way. I won't keep you for long. You can leave anytime you want, but there's someone who I think you would enjoy seeing. Who? Temar asked curiously. Naruto, said Tsunade. Temar blinked in surprise. Naruto was back in the village? She didn't know. But why didn't Gaara say anything? Surely he knew. Was this some ploy to get her to meet the blonde? She could wonder about that, but she was a bit excited that Naruto was back. Nevertheless, she wanted answers when she get back home. When did he return? About 2 weeks ago, said Tsunade. He's currently in his apartment. I can get someone to show you. That is fine, said Temar with a smile. There was a sign of danger when she got there. A demon inside. That was horrible. These people made her sick. Who would do something like that? She calmed herself. How do you put something like this on someone's door? Did Naruto see this every day he opened and closed his door? What was he feeling? She couldn't put herself inside his shoes. As she knocked where the sign was not. As she got no answer, as she knocked once more. She didn't understand why he was in an apartment like this. He was the son of the man that they hailed as the greatest Hokage, and yet, this place? She was allowing her emotions to run wild. She could understand things with Gaara, but not Naruto at all. He had looked so lively when he visited the sign. He was a happy person, so this was the reason why he never brought up the Hidden Leaf village. She heard footsteps, as she felt her heart start to beat a bit faster, as her emotions were getting a bit too jumpy. As the door slowly creaked open. When the door opened, he was standing there with a blank look on his face. When he recognized it was her, a smile came on his face. Hey, she greeted a bit awkwardly. He tilted his head to the side, still smiling. He was surprised to see her here. He wasn't expecting to see her in Konoha during his short stay, but she was here. A setup from Tsunade or Gaara, perhaps even both, that none of them would admit to. Smart. Temar, said Naruto. Why the awkwardness? This is not the first time you're seeing me. I am not like a lover that you find after years of searching. Wait, am I? She smiled as she got calm. Just those simple words and her heart was fluttering a bit. In your dreams, she said. No, that is sad. I thought when you returned, you ran all the way here to see dear old me, he said. You're right, she said. But at least it would show that I hadn't forget about you. It's starting to look like you've forgotten. How could I, said Naruto. There has just been some issues to handle, and I have limited time. So, are you gonna let me in, she asked. Naruto blinked. Oh, I forgot. I don't really get visitors, he said. As he stepped out of the way for her to enter. You must close your eyes, it's rather messy inside. I doubt that, she said, as he led her towards the sitting room. He said it was messy, but it was not. It was small, but it was well kept. She saw the door to the bedroom. It was open as she tried to peep inside. I could give you a tour if you like. She blinked as she realized that she was caught peeping. No thanks, she said. So, this is your place, she said. as she didn't know what else to say. She thought she would have many things to say, but now that she was in front of him, she didn't know what to say. Yes, this is my place, he said. Do you want to move in with me? As you can see, I live alone. You get rather lonely in here. As he extended his arms open wide. It feels like you're inviting me to your arms, she said. But that sign on the door, she asked. Oh, the danger sign, said Naruto. It was put when I was 5, I think. For as long as I've lived here, it has always been there. I never really bothered to take it down. Perhaps I keep it for a sentimental value. It reminds me of where I come from, things like that, you know? She smiled sadly. You really have it rough, huh? Would you have a problem sharing it with me? Your past, I mean, she said. The next day, Tsunade wanted to see him, as Naruto was strolling through the Hokage's tower. Much of this did not really matter because he was going to be here for any longer soon enough, but being careless wouldn't win him any awards. Life was at ease right now and calm. Nevertheless, Sasuke returned and made things rather, well, different, but it wouldn't change anything. But his thoughts went on Danzo. You'd have to keep an eye on the man before the man did some stupid things. He came to a stop when he saw someone coming his way. Konoha Genjutsu Master Kurenai Yui, a rather delightful woman with mesmerizing eyes. Perhaps Jiraiya was right when he said that he was more interested in older women. Either way, what was beautiful could not be ignored. As he looked at her, directly into her eyes. Kurenai-sensei, he said, with a charming smile. That smile, it wasn't a normal smile that he gave everyone. Kurenai did not need to ask. Her instincts already told her that much. But she smiled in return. Naruto, she said. There wasn't much to say, she wasn't that familiar with him. You have a unique frame that really compelled one eye to stare at you, said Naruto. You should have been my sensei, perhaps. It's not too late. You could teach me a couple of things. The words slipped out smoothly as he spoke. Kurenai blinked. She was caught off guard by his words. She did not expect him to say something like that. He hadn't said much last time, he just smiled. But he wasn't looking at her like a pervert. Those eyes, they just had pure admiration in them. If he was giving her a perverted smile, she would have smacked him already. As she didn't have time to waste with pervert brats, but he wasn't much of a brat. He has grown into a handsome young man with a beautiful smile. Perhaps Anko wasn't exaggerating when she said he was a charming young man. Thank you, she said. I don't think there's anything I can teach you. You did train under a Sanin, one of Konoha's finest shinobis. As Naruto brought his index finger up and wagged it in front of his face. There's some things that not even Jiraiya can teach. But you certainly can, he said. What? She said. As Naruto smiled. Genjutsu, he said. I hear that you used to rival a famed Genjutsu user. Someone like Itachi. And in this village right now, no one matches your Genjutsu prowess, said Naruto. I have traveled a lot, and I have not come across anyone that's said to be a better Genjutsu user than you. So yes, in that department, you're better than Jiraiya. And you can teach me. Kurenai looked thoughtful. None of her students knew her skills to be able to use them. She hadn't been thinking of teaching anyone Genjutsu. Genjutsu is really difficult. And with high level of the finger that was moved in front of her face was placed on her lips. As she took a step back, as Naruto looked amused. If I make time, you can tell me all that in the training ground, Kurenai-sensei. As he walked past her, she twirled around to look at him. What the hell just happened? Perhaps if he had time, but perhaps, well, he would just go to her to get to know her better. He really shouldn't be doing this with Temari in the village. She would probably smack him with her fan if she found out. As Naruto entered, Shizune was also in there. As he smiled towards her, he then turned. You wish to see me, Bachan, he said, as he made himself comfortable in front of her desk. We have to discuss important things. I understand you never want to do anything regarding Uzo, but we can't afford to take that luxury anymore. It seems like something happened. What exactly do you mean by that, said Naruto. I was certain that we already resolved all of this issue. Tsunade nodded her head. We had, but Jerry came back with troublesome information. We can no longer ignore what their clients plan to do. We have to know if there's trouble. We have to be ready for it. If they want to start another war, we have to talk them out of it. But they won't listen to us. You're one of them. You should be able to get through to them. What makes you think my words will be able to do anything, said Naruto. Like I said, you're one of them. This is another approach that we're trying. We don't want to be forceful, but we want to know everything. Jerry thinks that Rain and Uzo are connected, and he's concerned about Nagato actions. If they refuse to tell you anything, Jiraiya will use other means. So things have come to this, Naruto thought. So you're concerned about Uzi's intentions, said Naruto. Well, that is to be expected, he finished in a thought. As she looked at him trying to find out anything, any twitch, anything, but there was nothing. I'm saying, to the way things are going, if they go in this direction, you won't be allowed to fight for your clan. I know I said if your clan was attacked, I would allow you to defend them even if Konoha could not do anything. However, things have changed if Uzu provoke a reaction from any other village. You can't do anything and Konoha will not lose you either. The message was clear, even if he quit being a shinobi, they wouldn't allow him to leave. Well, I'm still leave shinobi, so I must do what is ordered, said Naruto. Tsunade frowned. She hated the indifference in his tone. It was like he didn't care about anything. He was supposed to be mad, but he was not. Perhaps he was. And he was just not showing it. This is a serious matter, Naruto. I want to know. Do you love your clan? Of course I do, said Naruto. Uzumaki was the only thing I had when growing up. People from this village call me the Kyuubi brat, and everything else that made me look like a monster and a demon. Uzumaki gave me an identity. The old man told me about my clan and my mother. I was able to escape that thought of being a monster and just a plague to the world. So without any doubt I love my clan. Then why? Why are you still here, said Tsunade. Why did you not go to Uzu? Why have you not expressed any desire to leave and join your former home, she said. If I had said those words, what do you think would have happened, said Naruto. You'd have never made me leave for that training trip. I would have a squad of Anbu watching over me day and night. And I really can't have that, Tsunade-sama, said Naruto. It's already frustrating I had people watching me when I was younger. I don't need that anymore. Tsunade looked at him. She was happy that he finally said it, that he loved his clan. So now there was a clear motive for her to ask this question. If you have to choose between Konoha and Uzu, which one would you choose, she asked. That's a tricky question and no answer would satisfy you, said Naruto. If I tell you I choose Konoha, you will question things and always look at me with suspicion, because it wouldn't make sense. If I choose Uzu, you will never make me leave this village, even for a mission. Even as things are now, you can't leave the village, said Tsunade. There will always be suspicions, but I need you to answer my question. I refuse to answer trick questions, said Naruto. You have all the answers that you need. My words mean nothing. She shook her head. I care for you, Naruto. I want your words because I want to trust you. It is important that you tell me your thoughts regarding this matter. My thoughts are irrelevant, and whether you care for me or not, that does not really matter. When it comes down to it, if you have to choose this village, you will always pick it first. That is your duty as Hokage. It might sound cold, but I've already accepted that. I told you I love my clan, but you just told me if Uzu attract trouble, Konoha will not be able to intervene, and I will not be able to go and do anything. Silence. As Tsunade looked at him, she wondered if she'd done things correctly. Perhaps not, but she had to make sure that Naruto and Konoha were going to be okay in the long run. Uzu didn't come into factor. She preferred Naruto to be alive than go to fight a war and end up dying. I really hope you don't come to hate me for this, she said. There's nothing for you to worry about, said Naruto. She got a sad smile on her lips. When we first talked about this, I was really hoping that Uzu wouldn't have any bad intentions. But if they do, we can't associate ourselves with them. I really hope you understand. I do, said Naruto. She welcomed those words, but the thing about it was he wasn't angry. She preferred him to be angry and curse at her, but nothing. Has she ever even seen him angry before? That's all I want to talk to you about, she said. As he nodded. Time skip. 2 hours later, Sasuke was standing in the root headquarters as he was surrounded by a handful of Danzo's Anbus. All of them were lying on the ground dead. As Sasuke looked down towards their dead body, not a single care or hesitation in his eyes. But guys, be in tips right here. If you want things more to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. But I'm on for now. See you guys soon. Peace.